Hi everyone, Liz here and Abby too. Welcome back to our garden. In today's video, I'm going to plant colorful snapdragons underneath my front yard garden shade tree. I have 3 different colors: Candy Tops Yellow, Candy Tops Red, and Candy Tops Rose. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull some weeds and smooth out the soil and basically just get this area ready to receive my pretty new plants. If you noticed, I just pulled a few voluntary sunflowers that popped up. That's because I have a bird feeder above hanging in the tree, and sometimes the birds scratch out the seeds they don't want and then they grow in the soil below. But in all honesty, I really don't mind pulling weeds. In fact, I think it's very relaxing and therapeutical, if that's a word. I mean, pulling weeds just relaxes me, it calms me, and it just takes away all my stress and anxiety. Have you ever gone out into the garden and you pulled a weed, and as soon as you pulled it, you noticed another one? Then you pull that weed, and the next thing you know it, you're in the backyard pulling weeds for an hour. Well, that's me. One weed leads to another. There's just something wonderful about getting down to the ground and putting my hands in dirt that I find very appealing. I even love the smell of the earth, especially after it just rained. I know I can't be the only weird one who feels this way. Now I'm going to remove all the little plants from their containers and just kind of figure out where I'm going to put them all. I have a total of 18 plants, so I think they will fill up this area nicely. And of course, little Abby loves hanging out with me in the garden. And you know, I am really enjoying her company too. Abby was a rescue dog, and I'm probably her 4th or 5th owner. This was a match made in heaven, and she will never have another owner besides me. She came into my life just in time when I needed her companion the most. So she's definitely a little blessing. Now I'm going to very gently pull apart the little root ball and basically just separate the roots to encourage new root growth. I don't want the roots to continue growing in a circle around the potting soil that they came in the nursery pots. I want the roots to be encouraged to branch out and go through the soil in my garden rather than in the little pot it was in. I hope that makes sense. I'm not always good with my words and things that I try to say. And now for the fun part, putting the snapdragons in the ground. I know they're going to do really well here because I've grown snapdragons in this area many times in the past, and I would say it's the best thing I've ever grown in this area. I've tried many different plants like coleus, impatiens, but for some reason the snapdragons have always done the best right here. Snapdragons are a cool season annual flowering plant. Annual means that they will flower once and then they'll die. However, if you live in a milder climate like I do, I'm in California Zone 9B, sometimes my snapdragons will last for a couple years and flower more than just once. So therefore, for me, it becomes a perennial, which means it comes back every year. And when I say cool season, what I mean is, although snapdragons require full sun, they do not like the heat, so they will grow and bloom best in the spring or the fall when the weather is cooler. Snapdragons get their name because the flowers resemble the snout of a dragon. And here's another interesting feature about snapdragons that most people are unaware of. Their seed pods look like little skeleton heads. Is that cool or what? So not only are snapdragons beautiful and colorful, but they're fun flowers as well. And of course, whenever I buy plants, I always save the containers they come in. These little 6-pack cells are perfect for starting seeds. I always try to use organic fertilizer in my garden because the fertilizer not only feeds the plants, but it actually feeds the beneficial microbes in the soil as well. Healthy soil makes for healthier plants. But my main reason and favorite reason of all is organic fertilizers are less concentrated than synthetic fertilizers, making them safer to use. What I mean by that is I can literally grab a handful of my organic fertilizer, sprinkle it around my flowers, and they never burn. It's like I never used too much. Whereas a synthetic fertilizer, I would burn so many plants. Plus, it was damaging the soil within. And like I said, healthy soil means healthier plants. And if the synthetic stuff is actually harming the microbes, well, that's the reason why I stopped using that. If you're curious to know what kind of fertilizer I'm using, I'll leave a link in the description below. And now it's time to water them in. I know, I'm using a watering can. What can I say? I'm old-fashioned and very simple that way. I don't have any drip irrigation anywhere in my garden. I don't even know how to set up drip irrigation. Not even sure I would even want that. That would just be one more thing for me to worry about. So having a watering can is super easy. You just fill it with water and go. It works for me. And in case you're wondering, yes, I do have a garden hose that would reach to this area, but the reason why I'm not turning that on is because of poor, sweet little Abby. She is petrified of water, and if I were to turn the hose on, she would run down the street 3 blocks. I guess her previous owner used to get her wet with the hose and sprayed her down in the summertime, so now she's petrified whenever I turn the hose on. So when I'm in the garden with Abby, it's a watering can I use. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention, snapdragons like moist but well-draining soil. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you have a beautiful day in your garden too.